It's been a long, exhausting day. Your troubles just won't go away. One thing that gets you through these is watching cheesy holiday movies. You think that you're above them, but you know that you love them. So get ready to listen. Now here comes Kevin and Kristin. Oh yeah.
Welcome to Remark. We watched another movie. I am one of your hosts, Kevin Regan. With me is Kristin Finger.
Hey everybody, that's right, Kev. We watched On the 12th Date of Christmas.
I thought you were going to sing
want
the
me
whole
to
thing. Do the whole thing.
On the 12th Date of Christmas.
We do it while drinking. It's like a magic trick. Chris, why don't you tell us about the movie?
I'll tell you everything about it.
No, just tell us a quick plot.
A nutshell? Okay, great. When I read this plot, I got pumped because I read it as to gamer. I was thinking video game. No, game. Just game in general. All right. So we've got two folks that work at the same company that have to do this magical scavenger hunt that leads up to this heavy hitter client, Wanda, of a big time hotel in Chicago. And that's where she wants the scavenger hunt to end. So circumstances happen, of course, that bring these two unlikely friends, companions, lovers, together into one sort of team, all right? One loves to compromise and communicate and talk to the other person. That's where she gets her best ideas. The other is just super sexy and likes to work alone. Do they fall in love? Kev, I don't know. I don't want to spoil it. But I would like to welcome our guests. Kevin and I weren't the only two ding-dongs that watched it this weekend. We also had Tara Bennet watch. Please welcome Tara Bennet to the show.
Hi, guys. Hello. Thank you for bringing me into your happiness torture / merry misery. There you go.
Thank you for being here. And of course, our second guest is Brendan Carr.
Hi, everybody. Happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you guys so much for, festivizing yourselves and your homes for this episode. Brendan, do you watch these films? Are you a Hallmark avid viewer, or is this a first time?
This was a first time. I caught a couple minutes of one a year ago because a place where I worked, I bought an ad that was airing for a Christmas concert during a Hallmark thing. So I watched it just to see my commercial, and then I never watched it again. So,
do you remember what that one was?
no, but it was on an ungodly time because it was where I could get cheap. But it was early enough that a lot of old people would have been watching.
Oh, of course.
So it was right in the wheelhouse where I needed to be. Yeah, but I don't remember what the name of the movie was. I just remember getting up, running over, turning it on, going, come on, looking and going, oh, yeah, okay, good. And then that was it.
I love it. That's amazing. All right, well, I love having first-timers on here. Now, Tara, are you an avid first-timer? Tell us where you fit on the Hallmark scale.
I'm so ancient that I used to actually look forward to when they used to do the Hallmark Sunday night Hall of Fame. Remember?
Yes!
Like when it became like your TV guide. I'm so excited. There's a new movie and it usually had like someone big in it. So like total dedicated to that Stop Fest. 100%. I'm in and out on when Hallmark Channel's running it, just because I cut the cord, so I have like a streaming service that has it, so I kind of have to jump on it. So I'm totally familiar with the world. I'm just not kind of an expert on every title that they play.
Thank you for mentioning the titles, because that's something that I am noticing. Kevin, did you know that there's a film called The 12 Dates of Christmas? Not to be confused with On the 12th Date of Christmas, which is what we watched.
Yeah. So it gets incredibly confusing, and they do churn them out, and you get confused on what you're watching. It's kind of the way I listen to music anymore anyhow, where I could not tell you a song title and most likely can't even tell you an artist. I'm just like, oh, I like that, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Brendan, as a first-time viewer, when you sat down to watch this and 15 minutes in, what were you feeling?
10 minutes in, I was just like, wow, you guys have yelled the name of the movie simultaneously in here, I was like, geez, that's Penn Jillette used to have this thing. If you saw a movie and somebody mentioned the title of the movie and you had to stand up and applaud. And I was like, wow, 10 minutes into this, they would have been standing up and applauding. So that was my first reaction. Like, whoa, right out of the chute, man. You're just going, you're not wasting time.
I don't want to beat around the bush. This starred my favorite Hallmark hunk.
Oh, really? Oh.
Tyler Hines. I'm a Heine, and yes, that is literally what fans of Tyler Hines have decided to call themselves. #Heinies. So how did you feel when we got to meet these two characters for the first time? Like, what were you feeling?
Well, now I feel remiss that I didn't pay attention to his Heine as much, so I'm going to probably have to go rewatch again.
Oh, yeah.
But aside from that, I watched with my husband and we both kind of went, that's an awful lot of tan for Chicago in the winter. So I say Heine made a choice. He made a real choice there. But I have to say, very well coiffed. He kind of rocked the sweater with the collar shirt really well. I thought he played the grouch well in the beginning. And good looking guy, you know, every time he kind of wandered into frame, you go like, yeah, I wouldn't spit at that. That's good.
I liked their chemistry. I thought they had good back and forth. It was believable to me. It wasn't forced, because some of these movies, they just put guy 1 and girl 30 together and you're like, that's not the right combo.
Yeah, without a doubt. And one of the things that these movies often do, we talked about it a few times. We talked about in the last episode, we talked about at the very beginning of our run with Remark, with Jingle Bell Bride, the taming of the shrew concept, that one person is like just crappy. And they did a really good job, at least, setting up that Tyler Hines' character, Aiden, is not crappy. Like, he stops off to visit his sister to fix her sink in the very beginning, so he's already likable. So you've, at least, I don't know if I'd say earned that, but you've earned the right to make him a little crappy at work, like a little mean and surly at work, because he's set in his ways. Because we've already seen, like, there's the save the cat. You know, he saved the cat. It opens up and he saved the cat. I will say, to Tara's point too, his tan, not only his tan, but when he walks into that house, which we'll get to the house in a minute, it was probably a drafty house. He's in Chicago. It is the winter. It's got to be like maybe 10 degrees. And he comes in, no jacket, shirt unbuttoned to about here. And all I could think was, Kristin loves this.
I haven't talked about Chicago cold. Talk about Kristin's heat. I don't even think I watched this movie. I think I just watched him, because I have in my notes Tyler's outfits and then just a list of his outfits. And I will point out that I chose my denim Christmas shirt for this episode, particularly because he gets dirty in that plumbing situation. And has to put on a denim shirt that belonged to his father. That remains on almost the entire movie with different colored sweaters on top. Brandon, did you notice the same thing?
I did not. The thing I did notice about him was actually about both our leads, was that if this was a theatrical movie, remember when those existed, theatrical movies? It was a long time ago. But if this is a theatrical movie, big budget, or semi-budget, because I don't think he's really opened a movie, but he felt like Nathan Fillion light.
Oh, yeah.
And she felt like Anne Hathaway light.
Wow.
That was my sense from those two. It's like, well, we can't get those guys. Can we get somebody like them?
Yeah.
And that was my reaction.
I like Nathan Fillion, but I don't know. I'd call him like Nathan Fillion like
adjacent. Let's call it adjacent. So then it's not.
Yeah.
You know what I found out about her? She's Australian. So she actually gave her super points for rocking the American accent, and never once. The Canadian slipped more than she never slipped. So like, well done for her.
Here's something really fun fact, Tara, that you're going to appreciate.
Certain Tara knows this, but go ahead.
She's also, she played Ada in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Hell Hydra.
And another, which is amazing, I just kept being like, Hell Hydra, the whole entire time. I was like, when's she gonna let us know she's evil? Yeah. When's she gonna kill everybody?
She's taking over Christmas.
Yeah. But the funny thing is that you say that she handled this accent change really nicely. A fellow Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. actress has been in Christmas at the Plaza, and she did not handle, because she's British, and she did not handle the American accent well.
That movie was problematic top to bottom, so let's just ignore that. That was also a last year. We're not doing 19, we're doing 20.
I'm sorry.
Moved on.
Kevin, how did you feel when the owner of the hotel, Wanda, took Jennifer aside and gave her that like empowering woman
Yeah,
touch?
right? Yeah, I loved it. I loved it. Although I felt like she was kind of already coming into her own. Listen, she was raised by Grandma Sue. And Grandma Sue did not raise no dummy. So I think that Wanda definitely sparked something in her. Kind of a competitive nature, or the feel of, I deserve to be here, I deserve this.
Yeah.
But I think that was pretty evident when they sat down, when Aiden and Jennifer sat down and had their kind of pitch back and forth of what their days were going to be. And Jennifer had really thought out ideas. It did show Aiden did that place is closed, that doesn't exist anymore sort of thing. But at the same time, hers were very well thought out, and his was written on a piece of paper. And he knew that like, oh, she brought her game, and then she gave him cookies. And that, my friends, game changer.
Can we talk about what happened when he looked at, okay, so there's a moment where just picture this. He's got his sweater on with his little shirt and he's leaning, and he looks over at the cookies and then just does this. I got like sweaty because I pretended I was the cookies. If he looks at me like that, did anyone catch that moment? I'm sweating thinking about it again.
I didn't, and I love cookies, so I can't believe I missed it.
I gotta say, Jennifer was pretty damn. She's generous with those cookies. Lots of cookie offering, left, right, and center.
Not to Carla, her roommate, though, and that was a bit of tension.
Withholding, super
Yeah.
withholding with the roommate. So maybe that's a sequel somewhere down the line.
Like, I thought this movie had a very sweet premise, actually, because sometimes it can be like very, very forced, but there was like a natural sort of like, well, we have to go on this meeting. Well, we have to do this. Well, now why don't we do this? Why don't we take a picture together? Like, it didn't feel as forced as some of these romantic sort of entanglements are. Thoughts on that? Like, anyone else feel that way?
I thought the doing a date, because it kind of really, I think it could have just felt like a scavenger hunt, but that they like paused and had scenes, a little painting scene, you know, at the place with the pear cider, and when they were talking, you know, at the when you think about the drum line and stuff. I think all of those little moments where they gave what you would on a date, but while they were at work, I was like, well, that's actually well thought out, because exposition can kill this stuff, and they actually made it really kind of work so that you got to know them, and you know, he chilled a little, and she gave her doubts a little bit more instead of being a little Miss Always Enthusiastic. So from a framing device, it invested me more.
I love that. I love that. Like, yeah, because I didn't even realize. And then I was like, I'm very interested in what their next activity is, like, and how it will bring them. Because, guys, can we talk about when they rolled that pastry together? That was like, oh, we're doing it. Like, you need both hands. You need both types of people. Like, it was such like a, I get it. You can't just be one like-minded person working in I could go on and on. I loved it.
It's funny because I think one of the complaints that the storytelling of a Hallmark movie suffers from often is this weird acceleration of two people meet and are madly in love and married all of a sudden. You're like, whoa, what happened? And like, sure, that happens in Hollywood here and there, but then you get the divorce 3 days later and you're like, this was not a good idea. Whereas this one, it felt like, because we saw all those dates, even though I think the timing was about 3 days, 4 days, it didn't feel, it felt like legitimate, like this could happen. Like they're working, and you know, like you guys are saying, there's like these things that are kind of seeping in, and those moments felt a lot more real than in a lot of these Hallmark films. So I bought it. Like, I was like, yeah, I could totally see this.
Yeah. Brandon, we're probably now about an hour and a half into the movie. How were you feeling at this point?
You know, I'm looking at my notes, and my notes are more questions.
Oh, hit us. I love questions. Yeah.
For the folks who've been through this as a first timer, you know, I felt very much like, you know, Spock trying to wrap his mind around something.
This is great. Kevin will create some sort of segment that says Q&A.
Oh, yeah, I love that. Yeah, more work. Thanks, Kristin.
The biggest one I want to ask you guys is, does a typical Hallmark movie here, holiday movie, have as many subplots as this one does? Because this had a lot. And yet they all kind of wrapped up. I don't know if they were all earned or really were necessary.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, but the condemned house, the neighbor, the grandmom, it was a lot. There's a lot in this. I didn't expect that.
A lot of times watching Hallmark movies, to me, feels like watching a long-form improv house team that has maybe only been doing it for about a year or 2 years. And they do have like a central concept, and it's like maybe they're doing a Herald, and they're like, okay, we have this, and it's great. But then somebody comes in with an offer, and you can just feel everyone else on the team going, really? And I'm going to run with it, but really, and it does. Like, that is I don't know why they do it. I don't know if it's a matter of they don't trust in the single storyline. Like, they only need an A and a B storyline, and they're good. But they do. They have C's, D's, E's, and you're like, oh, what? I mean, this one, I seriously think you could have gotten to about a G storyline, because I just assumed that the father whose house this was, it was the grandfather built the house, but I assumed, well, he's dead because he's not in this. And then all of a sudden they're like, not only is he not dead, he's coming to retire here. And I'm like, oh, okay. It kind of legitimizes the idea of we have to build the house or make the house nice the way it used to be. And then it was the father was actually in like Germany, and he was also in the military along with the brother-in-law. And it was like, what the freaking hell is happening here?
There was a moment where I thought the neighbor next door was going to turn out to be his dad. Yeah. Like, what? You live next door to my dad? And I was expecting that, but then they kind of tied up the neighbor pretty quick and gave him very simple, like, I just have a hearing aid. I don't know.
The neighbor made no sense to me. And I even wrote in my notes the first time we saw him, Mr. Amato was his name, Robert Amato. And when I first saw him, I just wrote, Mr. Amato, death ? Because she goes, hi, Mr. Amato, and Mr. Amato shovels and just ignores, and I'm like, it seems like a weird thing that he's just rude to her. Like, he's got to be deaf. And then that comes into play in the most sad way I have ever seen. My heart broke in half, and it was that Mr. Amato's wife had passed away, so when he comes home, he has no one to talk to, so he turns off his hearing aid. And then after explaining that and me having a tear and going, oh, Mr. Amato, he goes, hey, here's my cell phone number if you ever want to call me. And I'm like, Mr. Amato, you're never going to hear the phone ring.
He's pretty trusting of Chicago streets too, with keeping the sounds off, because it's like,
right, he's out there shoveling and he's got no.
He's out there shoveling and ignoring left and right and center. I was like, damn, guys, okay, yeah all right.
So Kev, this one had, and this is a trope that Tara, you might recognize, and Brandon, maybe this is one of your questions, is why is there someone that is just immediately assuming, oh, you're working with a woman? Oh, you're working with a man? Are they cute? Is there love? Have you had sex? Like, it's just immediate. The moment someone says, oh, I'm working with, it's, oh my God, it cracks me up every time, because I want to start doing that in my life now.
It really seems like a holdover from like an 80s sitcom-y type vibe that, it does seem weird now that you're like, wow, why is that a thing? Like years ago, even then I still question it, but I
feel like Rhoda did all of the good jokes, and we can move on from that now.
Yeah, I also felt like it got a little weird there at the end. The boss, Alistair, was kind of fighting with him about when they were going to tell her, and he's like, no, who's the boss? I'm the boss. And then I went, oh, is he your boss now? For a second I got like, oh, this is creepy, like this is an actual HR problem now. And then I went, oh wait, no, it's okay, because he was telling him he's adjacent and not really the boss. But I got worried because my org chart and my mental org chart of the big game company got a little messed up. So.
Yeah. No, that's true. I didn't even have that moment of panic. Like, they can't be together. Like, oh, that would have broke me. But again, I was just watching him the entire movie. The moment he tells her that he's up for that same position, like, I don't feel like he told her late. I feel like he told her at the right time of like, hey, I thought that was amazing. Also, the moment he finds out that he didn't get that, but got this other guy's job, his first thought is, can we tell, or have you told, how do they, like, selfless. I love him.
That was super sweet. I really thought that was sweet too. That was probably like, there were like 2 Sour Patch Kid moments for her because she was so eternally happy in the whole time. There was one time where they were in the house and she kind of like looked like she sucked on a lemon for a second. It was like, ooh, and it was like, ooh, that's huge because she's happy all the time. And then in the moment where she was like, oh, you're going for the same job. And it was like, oh, she gets a little salty, which is good because like you're saying in the 80s, I'm kind of like, she was very giving with the cookies, giving with the praise, giving with the everything. She needs to get a little salty. So she got salty in those 2 moments. So I was like, all right, there's realism. Yeah. He's kind. And she's also not exactly like, sure, take my dream job. It's all good.
Yeah.
Brandon, what was another one of your questions? I need to know.
I know.
This one is in particular to this movie. It isn't one of those all questions, but so his grandpa built the house 120 years ago, yet he talks about going and cutting down blue spruces, I believe, with his grandpa. The math doesn't add up to me.
No, there's continuity is something that is just thrown out the window. I'm pretty sure that they have one person write a third of the script, another person write the second third, and then none of them ever talk.
Or meet. They don't even meet.
Yeah.
Unless this is the G story that is actually parallel to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and perhaps Grandpa in Germany is under a Winter Soldier test. Yes, right? Okay.
They also could be on a different timeline. Like Grandpa's in a different timeline, and they God.
Well, so this actually, we haven't talked about this on Remark at all, but I've actually mentioned to Kristin off camera that I have a theory about the Hallmark multiverse.
Mm-hmm.
So it is possible there's a multiverse, and somewhere in there. And Brendan, we might be jumping around when we're watching this movie. It's not all one universe that we're watching. So we see Aiden talk about like, oh, my grandfather built this house 120 years ago, and my grandfather and I cut down a tree. And, you know, my grandfather makes cookies with Grandma Sue. I mean, all of that would have to be legit in a multiverse. I'm throwing it out there.
Super serum in the cookies.
Yeah, I'm here for that timeline. I'm also here now. Brendan, this is a very important thing. I don't know if you noticed, how many kisses did you see in this film?
I think Brendan knows this though.
Just one, right?
I mean between, Jennifer and Aiden. Now, normally it's like, okay, we have a new segment, Kevin. This is Kristin's Kiss-O-Meter. When you watch these folks kiss each other, it's a one and done. That's it, right?
You say that. I don't know if that's true across the board. I know it's true with some performers, but some of them, I think that the Hines get in line and are like, let's get it going.
If I knew
yeah.
Okay, so both of them aren't very Hallmarky stars. Right? He's very new to it. This is her first one. Their kiss made like babies form inside of me. And that was just like an average kiss. But if you look at if you put them back to back, it's just more like, and this was like, and I loved it.
Yeah.
She got aggressive. She's like, all right, let's shut up.
I need a head, pull them in.
Yeah, Tara, that's where the Australian came out.
Exactly.
That was an Australian kiss without a doubt.
Yeah. Good day,
it's different down under.
Day night, grab his head, pull him down under.
Yeah. I do want to point out, and I know Kristen's going to get angry at me, and that's okay, because I don't put all of the blame on Tyler Hines, but the phone call that he has in the office, it's right after he gets his promotion, and he finds out that Jennifer's getting her promotion, and it's kind of like set up to make him forget to try and track her down. But he has this phone conversation, and he does not wait for the person on the other end to finish anything they're saying, which is obviously just a timing thing, and it's an editing issue, and it's the fact that they used the one take for the whole thing, and they shouldn't have done that. But he talked over every single thing that was said by the woman on the other end of the phone, and I was just like, oh my God, this is like brutal. This is brutal.
The worst ADR in the whole piece was the very last Merry Christmas. I mean, seriously, he didn't even move his mouth.
His mouth was paralyzed from the Australian kiss.
It was such a good kiss. I just went,
Such a good.
Merry Christmas. That wasn't him, was it? Amazing.
This is a perfect time for us to talk about Kristin's Hallmark holiday hunks.
Objectification. So each movie, there is a male lead that I like to objectify. This week, we had Tyler Hines starring as Aiden. Now, there's a few stipulations to this. Now, I base this off a 1 to 10 mistletoe scale, and I rate them off of sex appeal, attractiveness, would I bone that? Then also believability, their character. So this is the difficult part, is that it's not Tyler Hines that I'm judging, it is Aiden. Okay. And you as well, right? So obviously Tyler has brought himself into and what he looks like, but basically, are they hot? Do I want to get down with that? So I'm going to hit Kevin with this first. 1 out of 10 mistletoes.
All right, so obviously I like Tyler Hines. I like his previous work. I know we're not supposed to bring that into this, but the man worked with Leanne Rimes. How can I not bring that into this? It's gold. And if you've never seen It's Christmas Eve, then you really should. It's one of my favorites, especially that title, because the comma's there, making it It's Christmas Eve. Tyler Hines is amazing in that. I've never not liked him. Again, they set him up to not be unlikable from the get-go, even with the issues he might go through. By the 35-minute mark, the two of them are already agreeable on pretty much everything. And I love that because there's enough conflict in the world, folks. I think you know that, especially this week. So I like Tyler Hines. He takes me away in that like Calgon take me away sort of way. So I'm going to give Mr. Tyler Hines a 9. I'm going to give him a 9.
So close.
No 10s. I've said it before. Elvis Presley and no one else.
Well, all right. So the 9 is technically your 10. So.
Yeah, he got a 10.
All right. Tara, I will go to you. 1 out of 10 mistletoes.
Ooh, well, obviously I was a Heine virgin there. So, I got to say walking in, I got to say, I was like, is he gonna be a dick this whole time? Like it was rough. But like Kevin said, he cookie time. Cookie was first melt, and then we got some more melting as he was like, she's really admirable and she's smart as a whip. And then I like it when actors bring like little flourishes, little moments. Like his reaction to the job, after he was at first upset and then he was like, oh yeah, no, I want the job, just cute little things like that and little reactions as they got more and more comfortable with each other towards the latter half of the movie. I like to leave some space to go towards something. He didn't ring my 10 bell immediately, but I'll say I'll give him by the last half, I'll give him a real solid 8. There you go.
Okay. Yeah. I appreciate that. I really appreciate that analysis of it. He had to win you over. He earned the 8.
He did, because I didn't like him in the beginning, but then I did at the end. So he made an arc for me.
Yeah. Brendan, 1 out of 10 mistletoes. What do you rate Tyler Hines playing Aiden?
I give him a 7. and he probably would have been an 8. And I'm going to use a reference that normally I would say this is too out of date for most audiences, but we are talking about the Hallmark holiday channel, so this might even be too contemporary. I think he would have been an 8 if he was a little more saucy in the beginning, a la Bruce Willis in Moonlighting.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
A little more snappy, a little more wise-assish. Case in point, I think she says at one point to him, "Who doesn't enjoy this time of year?" I wanted him to say something like Phoebe Cates and Gremlins, and he just gives her a look, and I'm like, oh, that's a perfect opportunity for you to say something really sarcastic or something. And he didn't. And normally you would say, well, that's probably a good feature of this person. It should bump his score up. But I think it would have helped his standing in the end. If he had a little more of a turn to the good, not that he's a bad guy, but so that knocks him down 1 peg. I give him a 7.
A little more swagger to get there. I get it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
This is great. So we went from 9, Tara's an 8, you're a 7. This is great. Now this is difficult for me just to judge because we know I'm a Hines. So based off his wardrobe alone, okay. Like, can we, like, if we just go back and talk about cardigan number 1, like a cream colored, gorgeous thing, fit him perfectly with that denim. Then he had a plum, a blue, a green, that final blue suit. If a man can wear a goddamn suit with a skinny tie, sign me up. Where's the wait list?
All of Reservoir Dogs, right?
Yeah, pretty much every new wave band in the 70s.
The only time I've ever found Steve Buscemi attractive is when he's in
Oh, man.
You need to get a copy of the Get the Knack album and just look at the back cover.
Yeah, that's true.
It's nothing but skinny ties. Yeah.
Okay. Also, he just goes over, helps his sister. I think he's good at his job. I think and to your sarcasm point, Brendan, I love the part where he was like, "Oh, look, I found something that's not in your office that's Christmassy. It's a giant lantern filled with Christmas balls." Hilarious. Hines, like you were saying, Tara brings this like him into it. And I love that even if the line is super cheesy, he adds his sexy, I don't give a about it, but I'm going to say this line and be really coy about it. I love it. All right. I don't think we're shocking anyone here. Ladies and gentlemen, I gave him a 11. He's off the scale. He's off the scale. He's off the scale.
I knew this would happen. This is week 2. We have many more weeks to go. And we're already at 11. I can't keep making graphics. I have a family.
It's fine. He's a 10. He's a 10 plus. Oh my God. Follow him on social media. It's a journey.
Question for you then, Chris. Is the bar now, because he's 11, is the bar set too high for the rest of this season?
Oh, without a doubt.
Without a doubt. Last week I gave a 10. Like, where are we at? What is this world we're in? Like,
well, if you're a Hallmark programmer, would you have held on to this a little longer, closer to the actual holiday, or would you have put it out like second week?
First of all, I'd save Hines for every weekend. I would have booked him. And also, I mean, this movie I thought was really fun. Like, and I was glad that it was actually on the Hallmark channel, because sometimes what they're doing is putting these Hallmark mystery ones on. And I'm like, that was better than the one on Hallmark. Who is deciding these things? But like, I would have been PO'd if they would have put Hines on a mystery one. I would have been like, what are you doing? Why are you putting him on the bench? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. You don't put baby in the corner. We know this. We all know this.
Yeah.
And obviously, On the 12th Date of Christmas is not the only Christmas movie that Hallmark had this past Sunday. They also had another one.
So we have our special correspondence to discover the mystery in Holly and Ivy.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Winter Wonder Whodunit. We are on episode 4 tonight, featuring a movie called Holly and Ivy. I'm Aubrie, and here is my co-host, Shannon. Shannon, what happened to your face? It's terrifying.
It's a hat! Because it's like the Newsies, like the guy that's in the movie.
Who was in the Broadway revival?
Yes, he was nominated for a Tony Award.
Oh, hey, oh.
There you go. If anyone was wondering, we solved the mystery for you. We are here to talk about the riveting Hallmark mystery movie, Holly and Ivy.
It was deep.
It got pretty intense fast.
Very intense, very quickly.
So Holly and Ivy are the children. Melody is their mother.
Oh, hey, oh.
Alright, so Nina is on the move. And she moves in next to Melody, Holly, and Ivy. And she has a ton of books in her back of her car. And she buys a really, really garbage house.
That is true.
I guess the mystery is, why would anyone buy that house? I don't know. I mean, she thinks she can fix it up because she is very handy.
Yes. She reads books about construction, and she built her own built-in bookshelf in her dining room. We soon find.
Books. The pre-YouTube.
Yes. She is very book smart. She wants to be a librarian. One of the first major plot points is when she gives, is it Holly or Ivy does she give a mystery book to?
The older one.
So she gives Holly a book, and Holly doesn't want to borrow it, so she says she can keep it forever.
Is the mystery why it's better to keep it versus borrowing it?
I don't know what the deal was with borrowing it.
I guess because the mystery is, will you ever give it back? And usually the answer is no. At that point, you're just skipping the middleman and just saying, just keep it.
That girl knew she was going to steal that book. I commend Holly. I assume it was Holly.
Yeah, she is self-aware beyond her years.
Bravo, child.
Well done. So she moves in next door with all her books. And she's in a hardware store and meets a lovely gentleman who comes on real hard, real fast.
Oh, yeah. Just in there.
Just gets on in there.
Oh, hey, oh.
Yeah, he's buying flooring.
Right, because he's a construction guy.
Yeah, he's a contractor, which is a perfect pairing for someone who bought a crappy old house. You know?
Match made in Hallmark heaven.
And then he said something cheeky, but I didn't write it down.
Well, he said, oh, I'm trying to mansplain to you. And she was like, yeah, you are. And he was like, oh, you caught me. And she was like, I did. And he was like, let's go out. And she was like, okay. And so that's how their love affair began.
Every good romance starts with a good mansplaining.
Okay, now comes our favorite part.
Ooh.
Where we audition for the film. Because honestly, Aubrie and I would like to be in every Hallmark film.
And Shen, who will
Yes.
you be auditioning for tonight?
Oh, thank you, Aubrie. I will be auditioning for the father of Adam, who owns a car dealership.
Shannon DeVido auditioning for the part of Adam's crappy dad.
You have a gift for me?
Yes. I would like to gift you with this giant van! You get a car!
What? Adam's dad, you're like the Oprah of minivans.
Yep. Yeah, it's to put your library in, your roving library. And my son is going to put benches in it. And everyone wins. And we look like the best parents.
Oh my gosh. I hope other parents let their kids in this library van because it seems a little questionable.
Nope. I would cast us both.
I think we both got the role. That was some good acting.
Agreed.
And we're dressed for auditioning for Hallmark Channel movies. A TBH.
Do you see my hat? I got a hat on.
I'm missing my Peacoat next episode.
You need a Peacoat closet.
I need a Peacoat closet. I own one. So I'm not Hallmark Channel level yet. I'm going to have a traveling Peacoat library where people can rent Peacoats out of my van. They should trust me.
You could call it the Hallmark Peacoat van.
Oh, or
Coats on wheels.
Unpeacoat believable. That was a stretch.
Yep. Fun fact. Peacoat on wheels is actually my stripper name.
Ooh. Oh, tell me when you're performing next. I'd love to see you there.
I will. I attempt to take off a peacoat, and I can't. It's a very long show.
Do you perform it sometimes in a van with a pole?
I
'Cause
do.
That might be a nice traveling gig.
Yeah, there's a pole in my car, and I just drive around it while trying to take off the peacoat. I never get it off, so you never really see anything. So it doesn't make a lot of money, but it's very funny.
It's the journey that matters.
It
you
is
know?
the journey that matters. Their relationship was very nice, except that it went from 0 to 150 very quickly. I'm pretty sure on the first date they talked about having children together.
Yeah, she did. She dropped it like slyly.
Yeah, she's like, oh, by the way, I'm also adopting my new neighbor's children because she's dying of cancer.
And
We should have a family together.
Yeah, she said like we can both achieve our dreams together, and that's like the same thing. It also like was very like they were going on dates, and then he just panicked because she was giving up her library job, and then he was like, I might get a real job too.
That was a weird thing to throw into the weird social commentary film, because it was like, or was it saying that we can't go for our dreams as young people because we have no ability to make enough money to be able to sustain ourselves, and therefore we have to give up on the things that we really want, like hot guys, in order to have health insurance. Is that what this movie was saying?
Was that the mystery? Is this
that
like
was the mystery?
This like the inception of Hallmark Channel movie? That could be the true mystery that we can sit with for the rest of the week. Does this movie finally have a real mystery? Because none of them have yet. And is the real mystery that this is just an allegory for 2020? Oh, Shannon.
We did it!
I think we did it!
We actually became mystery solvers.
Oh my god! They hid the mystery so far down in this one! I mean, there was adoption. There was a mom with cancer. There was a lot happening.
There was a guy picking out doorknobs.
Who was a newsie.
He was a newsie. People, you gotta stay tuned for next week when we solve another mystery for real.
We're more equipped for this job than I thought we were before, and I can't wait to see where this journey takes us in the weeks to come. We're just scratching the surface of our true crime-solving, mystery-solving, Sherlock Holmes
in
ways.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Until next week, Winter Wonder Whodunit out.
Well, you know, Kristin, Holly and Ivy also had a gentleman in it, and I feel it would be a little bit inappropriate if we didn't do one of Kristin's famous Hallmark holiday hunk objectifications.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Yes, there was, of course, a lead, Jeremy Jordan.
And JJ.
Otherwise known as JJ by his friends, playing the role of someone. I forget.
Unimportant.
Adam. It's Adam. Here's something interesting. I have never seen this person before. I watch a lot of the Arrowverse and Flash and stuff like that, but I never got into Supergirl. So I've never seen him on Supergirl. I may have seen him on one of the crossover episodes.
I was going to say, he does show up in Flash as well. Yeah.
But didn't realize it. He is a treasure. Also didn't know, sings and does the Broadway. So I'm down. I am down with this. Now, of course, my objectification is off of this character only, so we can't include his singing abilities because we didn't really get to see that in this film. Again, we always rate this 1 out of 10 mistletoe. So Kevin, what do you give the role played by Jeremy Jordan, JJ, of Adam?
Okay, so here's the thing. I didn't love his character. I didn't hate his character, but I didn't love his character, and there were a couple reasons. So we have Melody buys this house, right? And the house is a fixer-upper, to say the least. It's a money pit, if you will. And then she runs into Adam at the hardware store. And Adam is, a little flirty with her, and I was like, this is cool, because he's a little forward. And she's But she like picks it right up and's like, oh yeah, we're doing this, we can do this. And I'm like, all right. They start hanging out, and then they do kind of go on a date. But her house is a fixer-upper, and whatever. Like, I'm not asking him to do free work. But then her neighbor Nina gets sick. She had been sick previously. She had beaten cancer twice. It comes back, and it's like, okay, this is going a certain way, and Melanie would take Nina's kids. I mean, that's the nutshell. You just saw Shannon and Aubrie talk about this. So my problem was, as soon as this is said, he at no point really pushes to help her out. It's just like he does this whole self-reflection thing, and he's kind of like, he kind of leaves, and like she takes it as this guy, but his thing is like an inner thing that like he wants to be her basically. And I was like, that's not doing it for me, brother. He is way too, I have to please my dad. Not even his mom, even though they keep saying mom and dad. His mom was fine. She was sweet. He could have easily said, Mom, I want to build cabinets, and I like this chick. And his mom would have been like, dude, totally cool. But his dad's like, I sell cars, and if you don't want to sell cars, then you got to build houses, not cabinets, not kitchen seat or window seats. He was a very good-looking dude. He was very charismatic. He was a lot of fun. But because of that weight, it's so funny because it sounds like I'm going to give him like a 3, and I'm not. It's not how I weight. But I'm going to give him a 7. But this guy would have been potentially higher, like significantly higher. But I'm going to give him a 7. I was almost a 6, but because he does come through at the very end, I'm going to give him a 7.
This is ticking me off, Kevin, because every other, like a lot of these dudes start off as a jerk and then we get to like them. Why couldn't this guy be likable, be a jerk for 2 seconds and redeem himself later, and you give him a 7?
I don't know the math. I just throw it out there.
Listen. I'd never seen him before, and I was taken for a ride. Okay.
There's better not be another 11. I will tell you right now.
I think he's hot. I think there's a every man sort, or every guy sort of like, he could literally have gone to high school with me. He's that sort of good looking where he's not like too like, I'm really, really good looking. It's like, I'm good looking because also I'm good looking.
Yeah.
Like I would tuck him in, you know what I mean? And
I like that term.
I would tuck him in. So also right out of the gate, loved him so much. He literally was like, oh, I'm sorry. I was mansplaining to you. Like he understands.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. Also, Kevin, I don't know how you gave him a 7. He's a cat person. He said it. I'm a cat person.
Yeah.
And I was like, I knew you were. I knew that's why we're in love.
I took that to mean the musical. I thought he liked Andrew Lloyd Webber, which is fine. No. I like Webber too, but doesn't gain you extra. Sondheim, maybe.
Also, he builds things. Thank you very much. I love his shop, his wood shop. He's nice to people. Yeah, he's got a little bit of daddy issues, but who doesn't?
Oh, right now you've just described Jesus. You literally just described Jesus. I didn't realize that he was Jesus. JJ?
Hey, Jesus. Anyway, for the new kid on the block in these movies, I can't believe it, but I was moved. I gave him a 9. I gave him a 9.
Whoa!
9, Kevin.
Wow.
Really liked him, and that beats Ronnie Rowe Jr.
Yeah.
I loved him. I want to watch him. I might go watch Supergirl now.
Okay.
I'm gonna watch every video of him singing. That's gonna get me going. Take a bubble bath and listen to him sing.
Hey, do your thing, lady.
Last week, my mom was like, why'd you say that about your uterus? And I'm going to say it again, Mom. He got my uterus going. All right.
I'm glad you brought up your mom, your uterus, and last week. And here's the reason. I want to apologize to your mom and anybody watching because we do have a retraction, not a contraction, which would have been a uterus thing. But no, we have a retraction from last week. If you remember, we were talking about the great Andrew Walker, okay? And when we were talking about him, Kristin said, how did I rank him? Now, I don't know why I have to keep track of this stuff, but I do. If you know Kristin, I have to keep track of this sort of stuff. And I did a bit where I said 6 and pretended I dubbed that in later. I did not. Had I actually done the research, I would have dubbed in the answer 4. So I personally gave Andrew Walker a 6. Kristin gave him a 4. Therefore, let's bring up the totals. Here they are right now. You can see what Chris has. You can see what I have. And Chris has a couple of 10s, or 10 plus at least up there. And me, 0 10s. Why? Because Elvis has not been in a Hallmark movie yet. So there you have it.
Yeah, but kind of. Christmas at Graceland? Kind of.
Yeah, Adrian Grenier is not getting a 10 for me. I love him, but come on, dude. I watched all of Entourage. You owe me.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris, I ate a lot of Halloween candy because obviously it was Halloween weekend. What did you eat when you were watching these movies?
It was hard to decide on what sort of snack would suit these movies, but when I watched the Royal one, I had some popcorn. But when I watched the 12 Dates of Christmas today, I had just a cup of tea.
Yeah, but you wanted cookies. Like, there's so much being made. You wanted something else.
I wanted all their cookies. She made so many cookies. Every movie, I want cookies.
Yeah, I wish there was like a pairing of some sort of snack pairing for some of these movies that we could watch and say, that's what I'll make or that's what I'll eat.
Yeah. Kev, are those jingle bells?
Do I hear Santa? I think it's Santa's Christmas movie snack pairings. We don't have a name for it.
Now we do.
Ho! Welcome to Santa's Workshop. Speaking of workshop, Kevin, maybe we could workshop the title of this segment. But anyway, we're going to talk about the 12 Dates of Christmas, but not necessarily about the movie itself, but what you want to snack on. You see, on Christmas Eve, I travel all over the world where little boys and little girls leave out cookies for me to eat. But I'll be honest, I get sick of cookies. So you're thinking, well, what else would Santa want? Well, with each of Hallmark's movies, I'll have a snack. And today I'm going to show you what snack that I would make while watching the 12 Dates of Christmas. But I'm not going to do it here. I'll do it here. And you're thinking, Santa, is this your house? No, boys and girls. I don't cook in my own house. You forget. I have access to every house in the world. So what I do is fly around and find a place that I want to visit. Today, to celebrate watching the 12 Dates of Christmas, I've come to Chicago. And what's a famous snack you could make in a Chicago kitchen? Well, one of the most famous snacks you could have in Chicago, Chicago-style popcorn. Now, if you're not familiar what you need for Chicago-style popcorn, it starts with a whirly pop. You don't remember these, do you, younger boys and girls? All you do is you put your popcorn in, spin it around, and make popcorn. So let's do it. You just open it up, put in popcorn and oil, like so, and spin it around, and that would make popcorn. But wait, we're making Chicago style. So you mix cheddar popcorn and caramel. So let's add some cheddar and some caramel sauce and put it on the oven for a couple of minutes. Now, through the magic of TV, we're all done. So all you need now is a bowl to enjoy some caramel cheddar mix. That's all you need. If you've never been to Chicago, you should try it. If you have been to Chicago and you haven't tried it, I don't trust you. I'm kidding. Enjoy the 12 Dates of Christmas and I'll enjoy a snack. Maybe next time I'll break it, visit your house. Merry Christmas.
All right, so far, Kevin and I have watched all 8 new films that Hallmark and Hallmark Movies and Mysteries have brought us. So we have to continue our ranking. Now, Kevin, I am keeping Delivered by Christmas at number 1.
I am too.
Good. Now I am putting 12 Dates of Christmas at number 2.
A new contender.
Mm-hmm.
I am too.
Look at this. This is where we're gonna probably gear.
Maybe. We'll see what happens.
I was moved and I cried, and I think also because of Jeremy or his character Adam, I put Holly and Ivy at number 3.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I really liked it. I thought the acting was great, and I thought I don't know. I just liked they pushed the librarian thing and the books theme a bit too hard, but I liked it a lot.
No, so I liked it, and I actually thought about it, and I was like, I would watch this again. Like, it is definitely rewatchable. In fact, there's only one so far, and I'll get to it when I get to it. There's only one so far I've watched that I was like, I don't ever need to see this again. It was just that. And I will say this about Holly and Ivy, and again, I know Shannon and Aubrie talked about it. At no point did I ever think they were going to kill off Nina. I just didn't. I was like, no. And it was, the plot heavily leaned on that, but I was like, she'll be fine. And then when she died, I sat here with my jaw like on the floor, and I was like, wow, Hallmark does not kill people on screen. And they didn't.
No,
It
did
in time, but Nana is dead before the movie starts. Nana's never sick. So I was surprised at that. That said, it still wasn't enough to get in my top 3.
Fine.
Left Christmas Tree Lane there. In fact, I'll hit some for you, and then I'll let you come back, Chris. So after Christmas Tree Lane, I went One Royal Holiday. I keep calling it Christmas, but One Royal Holiday. And then, believe it or not, even though we trashed it pretty heavily, I put Chateau Christmas. And then I put Holly and Ivy.
What are you even watching?
Hallmark.
Ugh. Well,
So after Holly and Ivy, you have
I have as well One Royal Christmas.
One Royal
Holiday.
Yeah.
Why?
I
liked it.
Yeah, overall it was a good movie. It had, James was a bit of a but
I love the Queen. I love the Queen and Christopher.
Awesome. Yeah,
it could have been that. I didn't even need James.
I thought Anna was fantastic.
Yeah. I remained Jingle Bell Bride after One Royal Holiday, and then Christmas Tree Lane.
Unbelievable. We're still
then I put Chateau Christmas, and I think we agree with this. Cranberry Christmas.
The worst. Like, it was so I have Jingle Bell Bride, then Cranberry Christmas, and again, I would watch Jingle Bell Bride again. I really would. Yeah. I think its pluses are more than its minuses for me, but Cranberry Christmas I did not care about. I was just like,
I didn't care about it or any character in that movie. Like, not a single character. I was like, oh, I didn't like it.
I liked Pam, the Oprah character. I liked her, but like there were problems across the board with everybody, and I was just overall, I say this a lot when watching stuff that you have to watch. It felt like homework. Like, I would have turned it off had I not been doing the show, even though I knew Shannon and Aubrie were the ones who were going to actually review it. I was like, well, in solidarity to them, I will watch the rest of it and eat a lot of Halloween candy, and that's what I did.
Yeah, don't make another Cranberry Christmas. That's our rankings. Yeah. We're 8 in, baby. We've got 9 million to go.
So, Brendan, would you ever watch another one?
You know what? I was really no. You may be surprised.
Okay.
Or my answer may make more sense. I was dreading the worst.
Yeah.
Actually, I was scheduled for another movie a couple weeks from now, which sounded terrible. I won't lie. I won't say what it is because it wasn't terrible. It was very light. It did what it was supposed to do.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sitting there grumbling the entire time. I expected the sound of my eyes rolling. I'm also trying not to be as cynical as I usually am this year. So it's hard, but there's also something satisfying about it. A lot of Ted Lasso watching has helped me.
Oh, so good. Yeah.
Try to be a better person, oddly.
Minus the language, Ted Lasso could be a Hallmark character, although he himself. No.
That's an 11. Sorry.
Yeah, I agree.
So I didn't hate it. I thought Hallmark does way too many commercials, and after the director's name was in the credit, they were already promoting another movie with a pop-up. And that was so. But all said and done, this was fine. This was There's worse ways to spend a Sunday night on a cold, rainy November night here in the Philly burbs.
Yeah.
The only reason I don't know if I will ever watch another Hallmark show isn't because lack of quantity or quality. It's because I am such a freak for, like, once Thanksgiving starts and it's like Christmas, I have the stuff that I always go to, my Muppet Christmas carols, my Emmett Otters. And even in lockdown, there's still only so many hours.
Yeah.
So it's like I know I've seen them a million times, but it's not Christmas without them. So I have to make sure they get. If I get all of them out of the way,
Yeah.
my weird mania.
Circle back around.
I may circle back around.
Yeah.
Question for Brendan: the movie was entirely cat deficient. So if there was a title, do you guys know in the pantheon, is there a cat centric episode? Because I think that's Brendan's hook. I think that's where he'll come back again.
One of the most popular Hallmark, I'm not making this up, one of the most popular Hallmark Christmas movies is called Nine Lives of Christmas. Is that right, Chris, or just 9 Lives?
9 Lives of Christmas, I believe.
With Kevin Spacey, right?
No, it stars Brandon Roush, who was Superman. And it's a good movie. Like, it is a good movie. It has many tropes. Fireman, that's a big trope that we've not yet seen in any of the Hallmark movies so far. It's got cats. It's a lot of cats. There's a lot in that one. That's worth checking out. I think
really good.
I know Brendan's wife too. I think the two of you guys would like that one.
Well, yeah, even if it sucked, I would just keep the cats on and just put like some Christmas
And
music.
they're really cute cats.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
There's an orange tabby. Like, I'm down for a tabby, you know? What about you, Tara? Has this stunted anything, or have we lit the candle for the rest of the season?
I'm discerning, with my plots. So I going back to the ancient days of being a TV guide girl, where you go, what's coming? Let me look and see what the blurb is. I'm still a blurb reader, so I think on my guide, I'll instead of just flicking by, I'll read the blurb.
Linger with it. Yep.
And then I'll make a decision instead of just swipe. I'll go, all right, let me see. Is there a hook? But now I'm not a Heine virgin anymore.
That's the best. You're amazing.
And so if I see him on the credits, I'll go, you know what? Let's see what he's up to. And let's see how the chemistry is working with the woman du jour of the next blurb. So yes, I'll give you that.
Tyler Hines also is in a comedy on Hulu. I forget the title of it, but people have recommended it to me, and so I have to watch it. He plays like an asshole, and I'm like, okay,
I'm there.
And I think he takes his shirt off. Oh my god!
Does that ever happen in a Hallmark movie? In a contemporary movie? No, there's no man facer, right?
Not even during Harvest. Awesome. Thank you all so much for joining us once again. Thank you to our guests, Brendan Carr and Tara Bennet. Tara, where can we see you?
I'm still writing stuff all the time. So SyFy Wire, you'll see my stories covering television, nerdy television. We don't really make video right now because, stuff. And so there's still some things on there if you'd like to see, like Earth to Ned. I highly recommend that as a fun thing. I did a big segment with Ned the alien. So you can find my stuff there if you just look for my name. And I write for SFX Magazine, which is all about sci-fi nerdery. And otherwise, if you're looking for holiday presents, if you go to Amazon and look up Tara Bennet, there's lots of nerd books out there. And I got a big history of Marvel Studios coming out next year. So nerd stuff all around.
You live the most amazing life. You work incredibly hard, though. I don't want to make it sound like it's just,
let me just tell you both. And Brendan, he always has the standing invitation, but specifically for the two of you as the Remark stars, Hallmark is a quarter of a mile from where I live. So, a tour of the studio and their facility, I don't know, maybe, as soon as we can all be around each other again, I can take it. So there you go.
Would lose my-
Kristin is in her car driving there now.
What's that? That's coming from her swear.
Brendan, how you going to top that? Where can we find you, sir?
In lockdown, I created a online radio show on Mixcloud called Guerrilla Radio. It's me basically playing my records and playing requests from friends and fans who write in. I try to do some themed episodes, so holiday episodes are coming up. A Thanksgiving episode as well. So you can find that at guerrillaradiohq.com. That's Guerrilla Radio, H as in holiday, Q as in quick, set the DVR, 9 Lives of Christmas is on tonight. .com. And one more question for you guys.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Maybe I'll pitch an idea, you write it and sell it to Hallmark, and we all, live like kings and queens for
You have 16 plots. Let's hear it.
Have they ever done
Mm-hmm.
a Christmas movie in which Hallmark ornaments fall in love?
That's it. No, but you know what? I'm certain they will, because Balsam Hill would be producing the hell out of it.
Oh my
I mean, I
god.
could see really bad animation.
Yeah.
But plugging their homegrown stuff, so they don't have to pay for licensing. But there's some sort of Toy Story-ish thing, but it's also romantic, and you get I don't know, somebody from like Susan Lucci or something to come in and do a couple voices of like a grandma, sexy grandma ornament.
Yeah, we can't get Susan Lucci. Are you okay with Lolita Davidovich, because she has done episodes or movies? I'm just saying.
Really? Yeah, sure. Lolita, she's great. I like
perfect.
Blaze. She was in that, I think.
Yeah, this turned out to be Brendan's pitch corner, which is
Thank you.
I just transcended Brendan. I'm there. Like, tell me when that's gonna happen. I'm in.
This is it. It opens and they always get placed in the same places, but some kid put the wrong ornament next to the other ornament, and that's when this is them falling in love.
All right, I'm just setting my DVR for that. That's fantastic. All right, we'll see you next week on Remark. Thank you.